What it is, what it is. No, I guess I'll start off with since it's a brand new year.
Merry New Year.
Many New Year. What it do, what it don't, what it will, what it won't. There it is. That's what it do,
Okay.
what it don't,
I like what you did there.
what it will, and what it won't. Happy New Year from the
Sound
Ball
like
Hawk Sports Talk
Pootie
in
said.
the building today for another Friday of riveting sports, business, and entertainment. If you have never been a part of the experience that is the Ball Hawk Sports Talk, welcome to the show. The Ball Hawk Sports Talk is where sports, business, and entertainment collide. Two businessmen get together to discuss sports in an entertaining fashion. We do it one way and one way only, and that's rough, rugged, and raw. We are going to bring the funk today. Today's episode is going by the title of New Year's Restitution. So go ahead and pull up a nice tall chair. If you're watching live, pour you a nice tall cup of coffee. Spike it with whatever you want, because technically we're still on vacation or in vacation mode, even if you're at air quote work today. But most importantly, get ready for another wonderful show. It's the Ball Hawk Sports Talk coming to you. So, boys and girls, dogs and frogs, cats and rats, and anything and everything in between. Let's go. Wake up, wake up, wake up, and stay woke. Because this is the Ball Hawk Sports Talk with your boy, B. Brown, ESQ, a.k.a. the Ball Hog, a.k.a. the Mouth of the South. This is the place where sports, business, and entertainment collide. And we're going to give it to you rough, rugged, and raw. So come get you a spoonful, like some grits with butter and salt. You know how we do it in the South, y'all. Make sure you do not get caught in your feelings. Strap on your seatbelt and enjoy the ride. Come on, let's go. You know what it is, man? It's 2025, baby, and we are still alive. Thank God for that. I have from the Middle Coast a term that he made up himself, and it is in the middle of winter, so I know no one is envious of Chicago at this point, because something tells me the Windy City is acting windy. But from the Middle Coast, the man, the myth, the legend, thou shall be intergalactically known and respected as. When you say it with your chest. Make sure you sit up in your chair and have some reverence to it. He is the Big Flow Shows in the building. What's up, my brother?
Man, what it do? How's your New Year's?
It was good, man. It was uneventful, man. I got, I have kids and it was uneventful. So I've got this gap in my life where New Year's was limited by the fact that I had to wake up on New Year's Day and get in that gym, baby. We're playing catch up with basketball right now after spending so many diligent hours focused on football. So that was a long-winded answer to your short question, but I'm still here, baby, in 2025. So it was blessed, is how I would say it. I'll return the question to you. How was your New Year's, my brother?
It was good. Just went to an overpriced dinner. Had some fun. Food was good. Hung out with some people. It was cool, kind of uneventful. My son was out of town. I'm not, he's at the age I'm used to him being not here, so I didn't trip about that. Baby girl was out there hanging out with their friends. We let her do her thing a little bit, stretch her legs, so she's about to leave the house. It was good. Couldn't wait to watch those playoff games. Those were perfect to watch.
Perfect.
I got ridiculed. I got a question. Do you buy yourself Christmas gifts?
Great question. Do I buy myself Christmas gifts? No, I don't. I don't. If I buy myself during the period of Christmas shopping, I don't really look at it as a Christmas gift. That's a great question, but I never thought of it that way. I just try to take advantage of the sales. I do buy things during the Christmas holiday spirit.
But it's not a gift per se.
No, like I wouldn't wrap it up for myself. I don't qualify it as a gift. I'm just taking advantage of sales when sales are available.
So I was ridiculed because I buy myself gifts. I wrap them and I give myself a card. I leave myself a nice note. And that way I know I always get something open.
Do you sign it with your real name, or is it signed to the Big Flow show from Reggie? Like, how do you I
So
mean,
I got
you were
teased
from
because
Atlanta.
my wife found said card, right? It was in the box. It just said to Reggie from Reggie, I love you, big sexy. And for some reason, people thought that was strange. But I
So do you think it's strange that I don't buy myself gifts?
here's the thing. This is the most unappreciated job on earth, is being a dad, right?
Amen to that, brother.
I don't get anything that I
Clap
ain't
for
paid.
Ric Flair for that one. Yes, sir.
I don't get anything in this world that I didn't pay for, right? There's nothing comes to me free of charge. So I'm comfortable with that shit, but I like nice things. So I like to buy myself a gift early enough that when I get it, I forget what it is.
I feel you. So
So
you got
it's
there's a little element of surprise.
little
in that.
element of surprise. And I was excited to find out this year that I bought myself 2 collector's items, bottles of Hennessy, the LeBron James edition.
LeBron James.
LeBron James edition. You know, I'm a LeBron James fan, and I think it's going to be worth a lot of money one day. And you too will be mad that you didn't buy yourself this for Christmas.
Hey, well,
And so they give you the option to write yourself a card. It was free of charge. I didn't have to pay extra for it, so I put it in there. Now, I forgot that I wrote the card, so I got the thing, and my wife was throwing the box away. She looked down, and she said, and I had friends
took her head. Oh, my gosh.
She said, this is the dude I married. And she brought the card in there. I thought it was funny. I thought it was completely normal.
Hey, man. Well, I think it's
such
perfect. I think it's perfect for this particular.
I liked it. I got a gift I liked. That's the only gift. I got that and some lip balm.
Lip balm. Well,
I guess
I'm glad you pampered yourself, man. But I think it's
myself.
appropriate for this particular episode.
What the hell else are you supposed to do? So I look again. I love being a dad. It's my favorite title in the world, but it's a thankless job, and nothing comes for free.
And nothing comes.
Everything good about this thing cost me thousands and thousands of dollars. So I
bought
myself a nice cheap gift for under $100.
There you go, man. On the cheap.
Merry Christmas to me, big sexy.
Merry Christmas. I'm not calling you that other thing, but I'll say.
You know what? That's okay. I said it to myself. I don't need to keep hearing it. I'm good.
I think that your sharing of that information is appropriate for this show. Today's episode is going by the title
Restitution.
New Year's Restitution, baby. And for those of you who might struggle to understand the meaning of restitution, I shall provide it. It is basically the restoration of something lost or stolen to its proper owner. It's also used in legal terms to mean like to be compensated, recompense for injury or loss. And for you, I think that you have decided to recompense the respect that you so ultimately deserve as a dad.
Yeah.
And for today's show, we're going to talk about the restoration of something lost or stolen when it comes to sports business and entertainment. So buckle your seatbelt. Today's episode is going to be a bunch of fireworks in a small time frame. Rough, rugged, and raw, where sports business and entertainment collide. Two businessmen get together to discuss sports and entertainment fashion, and it is the Ball Hog Sports Talk. With that, man, let's hop right in because I do want to start with, we haven't done this in a while, but the crazies were acting crazy. And so before we get into any of the college football playoff and the respective bowl games and the discussion that it so richly deserves, let's take a moment to have a moment of silence. Because Bourbon Street, a place that is notorious for good times and laughs and so many memories that so many people have had, whether it be during Mardi Gras or on New Year's Eve and you name it, or the Sugar Bowl. It was turned into a place of disaster, atrocities. I think it's up to 15 people. Apologies for not knowing the exact number. There's still people that are in critical condition. If you
35 were injured.
35 were injured. The death toll is evolving. Lives ripped apart, memories ruined. In a way, the space will never be the same because you're always going to associate it with the tragedy that happened there. But I think for all of us who did wake up in 2025, and that's why we talked about just being blessed at the very top of this show, we should all be thankful that we are alive, but also remorseful for those lives that were lost. So, for that, let's take a very brief but meaningful moment of silence for all of the lives and families that were negatively impacted by the terrorist attack on Bourbon Street.
I'd like to piggyback on that moment of silence. There's a young lady, I believe she's the age of 25. I don't know who watched the Notre Dame game this week, and you noticed there was a commercial for some research Notre Dame was doing. They had a young lady that was in like a robotic outfit that kind of stood her up so she could walk. And the disease she had was called ataxia. And I was familiar with it, but I had never been familiar with it until someone's daughter I knew came down with it. So I thought it was eerily interesting that they showed that and that Notre Dame was involved in that for the first time because this young lady lost her life New Year's Day, was found dead in her home from her family from a I'm going to say like an 8 to 10 year battle with ataxia, and it's terrible. It's very similar to ALS from a standpoint of what it does to the body. I don't know the disease well enough, but just kind of the way your body shuts down and deteriorates, and you get to a point where you can't breathe or swallow or different things of that nature, and you can pass from that. So I'd like to do another moment of silence for Cameron Cobb, beautiful young soul who's now at rest.
That was a very powerful commercial, and had no idea that you knew someone that was impacted by the debilitating condition, and to be watching a game and seeing that, I can only imagine. So my heart goes out to her family.
So our show's about a little fun. So I'd like to give Donkey of the Day award to the man in Las Vegas who decided to blow his truck up in front of Trump Towers in a fucking Tesla that is evidently blow up proof because this man blew himself up. First of all, he shot himself first, right? I don't like making light of stuff, but when you're a monkey and you try to kill people, I'm going to make light of your death. So he shot himself first, but he didn't kill himself with the shot because he was still able to detonate the bomb. So my thing is, why? So before you die, you let yourself feel some excruciating pain and then get blown up by the truck. Why not just let the truck blow up, kill you?
Right.
Why actually add some pain first? But if that was not a commercial for the Cybertruck, the windows were blew out, but the side panels don't even need to be buffed out.
He's good. He's good. Truck's still good.
Elon Musk is like, I told you that.
I told y'all, man. I built
boy.
something for.
But he didn't even break the windows at the Trump Tower.
Look,
man, look here. That Cybertruck is a bad boy.
I had this debate about just people who do things like that, and look, today's episode is going by New Year's Restitution, and in ways there are people who embark on terroristic acts, and they feel as though that there's a recompense of some sort for the injury of loss or the political, whether it be proactive or inactive, the political decisions that have impacted their people. But I just struggle with thinking that there were people on Bourbon Street who were just trying to enjoy New Year's Eve, who very well could align with you politically, who very well could support your cause, who very well could be just as upset about Western societies and governments, but they no longer can go home to their families. And I guess I'm at the age where I don't necessarily party like I used to on New Year's Eve. I still saw myself being on Bourbon Street at 3:45 a.m. had I gone to the Sugar Bowl, which was, I decided the 11th hour not to. And I could very well see myself hanging out there at that hour. Be a long day the next day, but it wasn't supposed to be. It's supposed to be a night game. The game was moved back, was postponed because of the incident. And I just struggle, man. And we're not going to get into that today, but I think it helps us kickstart the conversation because the game was pushed back. A lot of people couldn't go to the game. Some of the tickets I heard by the game time, $15. A very good case study on supply and demand for the Sugar Bowl tickets. But the moment itself made me appreciate all the good things, the pure things that we have to celebrate and hold on to. So throughout that tragedy, there's some triumph because it helped us all reset. I'll use that to talk about sort of the reset of college football. New Year's restitution is because I think when you look at some of the recent Goliath coaches that have stepped down and said that this new world order with NIL deals and the transfer portal with unlimited numbers of transfers doesn't seem to be the space that they want to operate in. In that same year, you look at not just the top bowl games, because we're going to get to the bowl games that led us to the semifinals, but a laundry list of bowl games that have had record numbers of viewership. In terms of the non-playoff games, there have been some great games, not only from a competitive standpoint, but also from a viewership standpoint. And I think that in an odd way, there's some restitution going on. When you see the parity on the heels of the discussions related to the transfer portal and the discussions related to the NIL deals, there's parity. You never know who's going to win the game. Both Army and Navy, who Notre Dame gets ridiculed very often for playing on a year in, a year out basis, who were used as almost in a comedy sketch when people talked about Notre Dame's strength of schedule. And there were some underwhelming performers this year, including FSU, highlighted by FSU. So when you talk about Notre Dame's strength of schedule and you put Army and Navy on there, people ridiculed that as an assessment. Both Army and Navy won their bowl games. Mm-hmm. But the viewership, I think, has been amazing. The parity has been amazing. And I think that it says something about where we are in college football. The headliner of the non-playoff game, amazing viewership, increased viewership, was the Alamo Bowl. Right? No surprise there. You've got the Heisman Trophy winner in Travis Hunter. You've got Mr. Ratings himself in Coach Prime. And I think people wanted to see what happened, which was BYU broke the brakes and whooped the brakes off of and put the pause on Colorado. Sometimes people just love to see the person get beat. And I think that's what happened there. 36-14 in the Alamo Bowl. And then the other one that was a game that solicited a lot of viewership was the Pop-Tart Bowl, where Miami came up short.
Who doesn't like a good Pop-Tart?
But it was pretty impressive to see those numbers. What do you think about that? What does that tell us about where college football is? Because there were a lot of speculation. There was a lot of speculation about whether or not the new format and the 12-team playoffs would lead to a lot less interest in the bowl games that were not playoff games. We talked last week about Coach Prime and setting up the insurance policy to make sure players would not choose the opt-out. We also talked about the reduction in opt-outs this year because players were compensated, some would say fairly, but at least they were compensated at some point frequently throughout the year that there were less opt-outs. What do you think this says about the state of college football when you look at those viewership numbers in the non-playoff games before we get to the playoffs?
I think this is part of a bigger picture where I think college football, from a fan standpoint, is in the best place it's ever been by far. If you think about the playoffs expanded, right? Yep. And we used to argue about, who should make the top four, right? And what should be a part of it. And look at all the proof that says that we probably would have got that. I mean, it'd be kind of hard to go through all these conference champions and say that they shouldn't be in the top 4, but they shouldn't have been. None of them made it, right? Not a single conference champion. And
Right.
I think that because of all the spillover of who should have been in there because over SMU, who should have been in there over IU, and all these people that should have been somewhere that they didn't end up being because of over someone else, there was a lot of eyes on some of these other bowl games. We really wanted to see what these people were going to do. Let's find out, how good is South Carolina? How good is Ole Miss? You know, how good are all these teams that got slighted and they want to go see how good is – at one point they were saying it was a lock that everyone could see Colorado getting into the playoffs because they had a route to do it. And then you just started to kind of look into it and see that this – and then the way that they intermixed the playoffs in between bowl games. So we still had some bowl games, we still had some playoffs, did whatever. I think they did a fantastic job with it.
Bowl games today. I can't wait to watch the bowl games today. What's up, my man Rudy? Hey, good morning to you as well. Afternoon to you as well, my brother.
Good afternoon.
And I owe you a call, man. I'll be hollering at you. Rudy's comment, for those who are watching live, reminds me to say this. Please like, please comment, please share, please tag a friend, tag a foe, tag anyone that you know, and please subscribe to the YouTube channel and the podcast. We do this at the labor of love, but at the same time, we do it well. So we want to make sure other people.
Yeah, so if you're out there watching right now, just throw us a Happy New Year. I know a lot of you guys try to be anonymous, and I know sometimes we don't get to see all of them until later because from a logistics standpoint, we broadcast this live on 7 different pages, right? We've got 2 YouTube pages that it goes live, and it's got 4 different Facebook pages that were live. And for some reason, the program doesn't bring them all in. So a lot of times I see people, and you'll see me look down at my phone quite often because if you send me a text message about the show, and or if I see a comment somewhere else, I try to mention that. So just know we never intentionally ignore. We try to speak out on just about everybody that we can see. And as often as we can, we try to make it relevant to the conversation unless we've kind of moved on. So please shout out, give us a Happy New Year, see what's out there. We see a lot of people are watching right now on the screen and, only a couple people that we're seeing live. But anyway, I digress.
I like that. And I add to that to say it's the New Year's restitution, baby. And I think that because there are payments that are legal payments being made. What's up, my man Mace? Yo, I got some killers, bro, that I coach in track, man, and football and everything. Anyway, I got to say what's up. Tell my man say Happy New Year. Because of these payments, though, there is now some parity. There was an amazing diagram that showed sort of this correlation between when payments started to be legal and when the dominance of the SEC started to dip. I think you told me, I kind of got an idea of what your understanding of that would be.
Ooh, I love how you about to soft do this. I wish sometimes we could record the pre-show, and I love what Bobby's about to do. I'll explain it after he does it, but go ahead.
But you seem to think that there has to be.
I love it.
Explain the correlation between that.
Okay, this is my favorite because I love it. I love human behavior. I think it's great. I should have been a psychology major. It's more interested than marketing. But so Bobby's not willing to say that the SEC pays people, but he was been paying people before it was legal. He's not willing to say that.
I'm not willing to say that.
But he wants to be a part of the conversation.
Yeah.
So he says, I think you were gonna say, Reg, that so listen.
You said something about the SEC.
I'm gonna stand on business and say,
oh,
the SEC has been paying people for years.
Oh,
and the reason why Nick Saban left is because he saw the writing on the wall. Say, look, now that everybody's paying, I can't be the best anymore. And lo and behold, Alabama's average as hell, right?
They're not average, but they're not dominant.
4
they're not
losses.
Average.
4 losses is a good team.
Average. I'll give you average. Slightly above average.
Above average. Good team. You don't want to see him if you're missing a couple starters, but you should sleep well the night before. Where it didn't used to be like that. So Now here we
You
are.
sleepless as soon as you heard the word Bama at one
Oh
point.
my God, the boogeyman! I saw what they did to us when we played them in the national championship. The way they
Yeah,
threw us around the
yeah.
field and do
We
whatever.
don't even like to talk about
But
that
lo and
Miami.
behold, with no salary cap
Now, yeah.
and all these people out there, you've got an opportunity where we barely got an SEC team left in the playoffs. Wow. Everyone said we should put in all these SEC teams so that they could have just rolled through the playoffs. And really it should just be an SEC playoff and nobody else. What's up, Cash? So I think Clifford, my man Clifford, everybody got these fake names and shit, but I'm gonna call you by your government name, Clifford. But so all these people,
Lo and behold, what's
lo and
happening to it?
behold, now that everybody can pay, suddenly nobody's scared of the SEC. Suddenly, Notre Dame got athletes that can't be caught. We got guys running sweeps, and we got $10 million DBs that can't set the edge. Wow, couldn't believe that would happen. But now, I mean, you got Arizona State that should have beat Texas.
Oh,
I mean, this is the best situation for college football fans. Now, there's an ugly side to every flower. Every flower got a dark side with that they'll look real beautiful. So where we are seeing a good product, there's a lot of human lives at stake that are being sacrificed for part of their opportunity. But again, these are first world problems.
What do you mean by that? My girl, make sure I acknowledge my girl, Cree. What's up, Team Mom? She is a Notre Dame fan too. What up, Team Mom?
Appreciate those shamrocks.
Yeah, I mean,
but
Shamrock in the building.
There are a lot of people that are out there that are being hurt because we've got old players. We've got people transferring.
So that's what you mean by the sacrifice. So for
there's
every good, there's a bad.
Again, there's first world problems. I don't expect anybody out there to pull out a box of tissues because these are people that go in school for free and have an opportunity to play a sport where the best man can get in there. So in the past, you had stockpile talent in one school, and guys were stuck because they didn't want to give a year up. And
wait. The thing about Alabama is you could wait because you knew that was the clearest path towards the NFL. Even if I only played 1 year and it was my 5th year, right? It was my 5th year, or even my medical year, my 6th year. Mm-hmm. If I had one dominant year at Alabama, I'm good. Ain't nobody doing that no more.
I can wait. So everybody's leaving, and you think that you're going to be good. And hey, my son is in the portal right now, and we're hoping to go ruin somebody else's hopes and dreams. You know what I'm saying? Realistically, just the way things got ruined for him. People coming in and transferring, and you got 30-year-old guys ahead of you who should be coaching, should be damn near head coach, and are still playing the position. So
shameless plug, your son's gonna graduate before he leaves, but go ahead.
He's gonna graduate in March.
I'm
he
a
had 2 years of eligibility left.
I'm an education proponent.
So we still old school. We still value education. Call me an old school guy. We still value education. So he's gonna get that, and he's gonna move forward, and he's gonna go on and play the game and do some different things. And we're hoping that rules change to help him be the old man in the room and get 3 years of eligibility. So a lot of stuff, the ugly side of that, but the job of whoever's job it is to make this thing into something that people want to tune in and watch, and the proof is in the pudding, they're doing a damn good job. Yeah. Everyone always said the playoffs would kill the bowl games. It did not. Right?
Everyone said they did the opposite.
And you know what? You have all these transfers and opt-outs, and you know what? That's just giving somebody an opportunity. I've said this for years. I think that if you change the focus of what you think the bowl game is going to be and you turn it into something different, it doesn't mean anything. Tell that to Lane Kiffin, who was tacky as hell last night, threw on the last play of the game, trying to score a touchdown when they were already up by about 40. But, besides that,
no class, man. I don't know how he keeps getting jobs. Anyway, that's a whole different conversation. You talk about restitution. How does that man keep getting jobs? That's no class.
Yeah, that's no class at all. He jokingly yelled at his quarterback, Dart, for throwing a late touchdown, but then he throws in another quarterback, and on the very last play of the game, he tries to throw a touchdown pass. The guy gets tackled at the 1. But you know what? That's a different story. Run the score up if you can. It's my job to stop you. But if your man comes up hurt, limping, don't say nothing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's just anyway.
There's a lot of that dirty side that kind of comes out, but the bowl games have been great. I can't get enough football.
Here's what I want to ask you, man. And this we didn't prepare for this, so I don't even have a banner for it. But you mentioned you wanted to, as a family, and getting your son now to take advantage of the opportunities that are available in the transfer portal. As you described it, ruin somebody else's hopes and dreams by knocking them down on the depth chart.
Mm-hmm.
I ask you this, man. In this episode, I think is a perfect time to ask it. New Year's restitution. We're talking about restitution and getting back to that place. What do you think about the downward pressure on football in general? Because that restitution is also going to create a situation where, for example, I've seen a lot of conversation about whether or not parents should reclass. And I think about the high school prep star that maybe he's not a 5-star, but he's a 4-star, strong 4-star, strong 3-star, that came into his own later in his career, put up monstrous numbers, but doesn't have those offers. And it's getting me to the point because, again, I'm ushering, as the 13U coach, I'm ushering young men into their high school years. There's a downward pressure on all of football that I seem to think is being ignored. Because for every transfer portal recipient that gets that opportunity, for every additional year that has been granted, we talked about it with the JUCO rule, for every exception that is being made for somebody to be at a new school, and you go after category after category after category, there's a ripple effect that there's a high school student that doesn't get a scholarship. Mm-hmm. There's a person on campus that tried to stay the course and follow the guidelines of hard work will pay off that has to wait another year. There's this ripple effect that I think has downward pressure that is impacting not just college, not just high school. I would even go far enough to say even in the youth sports realm, you've got to make decisions understanding the downward pressure when we think of this restitution. What say you?
Explain what you mean by downward pressure. In this
downward pressure meaning I think that, I've talked about it. People talk about reclass and I say right class. Because reclass is such a big thing, if you've got certain birth dates, it'd be crazy for you to graduate at 17 years old. At this point, I think that it's asinine to be a 17-year-old graduate. So if you are, an August, September birthday, and in preschool, they give you the option whether or not to do that extra year or to move forward on the kindergarten. And most parents at that point trying to absolve themselves of the tuition that is preschool and the payments that are mandatory because of preschool. If their kid is just above threshold, even if they say he's immature, he can use another year, they're pushing him to kindergarten. That's going to change. And we're talking about 5- and 6-year-olds. That's what I mean by downward pressure.
So, okay, I'll take, again, using my son as an example. We had him signed up for kindergarten. He's got an August birthday. We had him signed up for kindergarten. We chose a Catholic school. Because of that, they have limited resources. They do kind of a test and like an interview process, right, to see where he is maturity-wise.
Did they interview you too? Because you would have failed, but I'm sure.
Well, there was my son had the same name, and one of us did bad enough that they didn't need to do, both of us. But he let's just say they didn't suggest that we keep the sign up. They said,
okay. All right,
I'll go do a little more parenting. It's a little raw in the middle. Why don't we? They poked it with the thermometer. Still a little raw in the middle, and he just had a little maturity issues, do whatever. But so we got him back
like his daddy. But go ahead, man.
Just like
I digress.
But we got him back into the opposite. I was kind of old for my class because I was back then. The cutoff was different. I was a February birthday. I was always one of the older kids. With him being August birthday, he would have been one of the younger kids. So what I was going to say is, by us holding him back and not putting him in the kindergarten, he was so young he didn't even realize it. So he didn't realize he wasn't in kindergarten till about 3rd grade. He said, "Wait, wasn't I supposed to be with them?" But it took him a while until he hit puberty to really come to his own. The beauty of that, by not adding what the teacher said, hey, you're going to add yourself a lot of pressure with homework, a lot of do stuff. There's going to be a lot on you. It's going to be frustrating for the kid. Why? He's 5. Let's just let him stay another year and come back in here. And he's not even going to be, and I'll tell you, he's not the oldest. I'm going to give you something different. I'm going to say it's people in this society that's been doing this reclassification for years.
Way before football, basketball. I agree.
They just don't talk about it.
Yeah, we're late. We're late to the party as sports enthusiasts.
And all my friends out there listening or whatever, I'm gonna tell you this, right? If you're one of my friends, you 50 years old is somewhere on your calendar. If you didn't pass it yet, it's coming up. And I want you to see, look at how many people that you went to high school with that you didn't know were older than you. I want you to see when they say blessed to make 50 and you're 49 and you just made 49 and you're going to say him 50.
Right. Oh yeah. That's been happening a lot.
You start seeing it and you start seeing people coming up because they didn't talk about it back then. But people have been doing this. People of means have been holding their kids back for years. They just don't discuss these things.
Right.
Now, when an athlete does it, so my son was 4 years old when I made the decision to hold him back. When he caught up and started to excel in sports, everyone's like, oh, you held him back to do this. If you think at 4 years old, at that point, I was on the bleeding edge. If you think that me and my wife, who at the time was not comfortable with the decision when they first presented it to us, took some growing. If you think we were thinking about my son's 18th year birthday, you're crazy as hell, right? But the beauty of it is because my son was able to stay back and develop without the crazy pressures and without the stuff of trying to meet with these group, he couldn't do it. When he got to high school, he had a 3.875 GPA. When he got to high school, he had a chance to develop athletically. He got to play. He started varsity every single game his high school career. And now, as it stands, he's going to graduate. The class that he was supposed to be in, he's going to finish college before them at the number 6 university in the country. So had I pushed him forward,
I'm clapping for him, man, because he did it despite how dumb his dad is.
Despite the lack of genes that I gave him, all that stuff. But my point is, he wasn't able to. If he had been in a situation where he had to go early and he had to do whatever. I know a lot of people that were the youngest in their class that had struggles, maturity issues, grade issues.
Man, you become
and they
never
caught up.
They
never caught up. And they're not people that are inherently stupid people, but like they were just in a situation where you can't thrive and you have to get your children to thrive. And even if that's not the case,
right? Even
in the case like yours where you married well and your kids are not mentally dyslexic as you are, that you know what I'm saying? They have good grades, do whatever. You have one lap around this earth for life. Like, you know what I'm saying? We get one go. This isn't a video game where you get to do over and you're going to start. No, you got one chance to be a child. When that's turn 18, you're no longer a child. You got one chance to do whatever. Some of y'all take 3-4 chances with marriage. That's on you. Some of y'all take way too many chances on being a parent. That's on you. But in general, you have one chance to kind of go through this life. And as parents, our goal isn't to make everything easy. Our goal isn't to make our kids spoiled, but our goal is to set a pathway for success for our children who don't have the advantage of foresight or, going back and looking and seeing how things
and they can't make decisions for themselves.
Hindsight, I meant to say, instead of foresight. Yeah. They don't have the advantage of hindsight. So, yeah, if I had another kid today, I would raise that child differently than I raised the 2 kids I had right now because of what I had the chance to learn. So I do the best I possibly can for my children. Yeah. And I don't fault anybody for doing theirs because everyone who has criticism for you, and every time I see somebody who's struggling because of what somebody says, next time somebody says, say, listen, if I decide to keep my kid in the right grade that you consider to be the right grade, if I consider not to do these things that's going to give them advantage, how much do you have on their education? How much are you going to put towards their college? How much are you going to do to subsidize their lives if they're not making the income that they require for what their needs are? If you have something to put in on that, then you know what? Let's sit down. Let's talk about the plan. But if all you have for me is criticism, kindly shut the fuck up and stand to the side. You know what I mean?
We're going to move on, but because we literally just we took a little bit of a detour.
You can't bring certain things up to me. I get worked up easily.
Yeah, but I brought up to you because I think that you have a very credible voice. But I'm also in the midst of it, and I'm seeing a lot of these conversations about reclassification, who should do it, who should not. And today's episode is New Year's restitution, and restitution meaning like the restoration of something lost or stolen to its proper owner. And so I think that what a lot of these parents who weigh in negatively when it comes to another parent's decision to air quote reclass, it's about sort of this, they feel as though that the even playing field has been lost or stolen by this kid because this kid, by reclassing in year 0 right now, has an advantage. And my challenge to those parents would be, we've had a show talked about short-term and long-term investing. Just don't give a damn about the right now. There's a long-term investment to this thing that if you put academics first, if you do all that you can, blood, sweat, and tears, in building a good human being that understands that the main thing always has to be the main thing, not the sideshow. Ultimately, it's going to work out, and there will be restitution, the restoration of something lost or stolen to its proper owner. There will be restitution. I'll give you last word before we
Last
move on.
word on this I'll say is, look at the people who mostly tell you that, right? 2 things. One, their kid, if they were 3 years back, typically still would not have made it if you held them back 3 years. And 2,
You hold somebody back 3 years?
You held them back 3 years, they still.
I gotta check myself. We played against a team in this dog. I'm going to a May basketball tournament, and we're doing Nike EYBL. We're playing against, these are 8th graders. People are saying 15-year-old 8th graders about to turn 16 and play against one 16-year-old 8th grader. 6'8" kids dunking on a drop step. It's bananas, and we're calling the 8th grade. And I really have to check myself with the same theory, because I've got to completely reshape my mental and not be like, yo, this is cheating, because the right now doesn't matter. So I throw it back to you, because your words are pointed for me right at this moment as well, as I prepare for another tournament this freaking weekend. Because I'm like, technically I could, air quote, reclass my kid. But I'm looking, I'm like, yo, you're 6'3". You're dunking the ball now. You just don't need it. And then there are people that's called me like, you out your damn mind. You better take every advantage that you can. Mm-hmm. So help me help myself, because I'm struggling.
I mean, there are some kids out there that just they got it young, and you can go get it young, and then you can say we're taking miles off, but just know he's competing against. We know people whose kids are in 8th grade or senior high school who, if they're not 20 years old when they graduate, are going to be 20 years old before they start their freshman year. And your son's going to compete against that person. Now, at the end of the day, I have a funny feeling because of your wife's choice that your kids are going to make it, that you're going to have, if he's 6'3" and he's dunking already, he might not need it. Not everybody needs it. There's people who don't play varsity till their senior year in high school that go on to the NFL. Some people play varsity. They could have played varsity in 8th grade. Kids develop at different rates. I always say out here, every gumbo needs something different, right? You taste the gumbo and stuff. It's not like universal what seasoning it's missing, what it needs more of. To get to the proper gumbo, everybody has to do something different. I had to do some things with my kids because of deficiencies I've seen in both of them that they didn't have, to try to build it up. A lot of that was psychological stuff. I put my son in Park District basketball when he was in like 6th grade, because he was on a really good basketball team and he never really wanted to take the final shot. He's always looking to pass. I had to convince my son that he was a good athlete by putting him with kids that were regular and having him drop 40 points and 20 assists every game. And then what happened is he went on to be the MVP of our team in a league that he never would have done had I not done that. Now,
special, so you had to put that special.
I had to put some special. He needed hot sauce in his gumbo, right?
Like that.
Some people don't eat hot sauce. Now, there's other kids that I've coached that were the star all the time, right? They probably needed to go somewhere to be humbled a little bit so they could realize they could accept their role. Everybody needs something different, and I want everybody to make it through. So
I love that. I know you're making a point, but that's where I struggle. Because when I see the conversations and I see the backbiting and the bitter context of the conversations, that's where I feel as though we're not there. Because you said something very powerful. I want everybody to succeed.
Everybody.
And in this day and age, this idea of restitution, you're taking something away from me That's not where we are.
And
On average,
that's the problem,
that's
because
not
the
where we
people
are.
who do most of the complaining are the ones whose kids are not excellers, right? Because game recognized game. We've been saying that for a long time. Game recognized game.
Yeah, dude.
So when you see somebody doing what they're doing and you feel like you have your kid on the right path, it don't bother you that somebody's doing something different. I got a couple people that their kids that reclassed 2 times. I tease them. I laugh because that's who I am.
You
But
call it a red shirt. I know how you like to.
Yeah, they double red shirt. They got a medical, and then they got an academic red shirt. Some of them was Prop 48. You know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna make jokes about it. But at the end of the day, I respect the hell out of it and I celebrate it because we're trying to win. At the end of the day, we're not going to be judged as parents until our kids are parents, right? Truly.
Facts.
Until your kids get married or however they decide, traditional, non-traditional, to go through it, and they start raising kids, that's when you're really going to be like, you know what, man, you did something, because we created humans, we created adults, we created people that are going to be functioning members of society. And until they start functioning as a member of society, we really don't know how well we did, right? Make sure they're not a school shooter or woman beater or something crazy,
doing
whatever.
Some dumb shit on Bourbon Street.
Do some crazy shit like that. Until we do that, we really can't judge what we're trying to do. So I want yours to make it. I want mine to make it. I'm in a situation right now where, we're hoping that my son's next chapter is going to be great. And other people's chapters their pages are turning their chapter before my son. And I'm celebrating the hell out of him. And you know what? The first thing I do is I call my son and I bring him in so we can celebrate that guy together.
Amen.
Because I want to make sure that he understands that, hey, we all gonna make it. This might not be, today's not your day, but tomorrow will be, right? So let's celebrate those people. So people are gonna do what they got to do with their kids to make it happen, and God bless them.
God bless them. My team mom, what's up, team mom? She pointed out, because I told you before this, I was like, yo, my son dunked yesterday. It was kind of crazy. So it was somebody else. At least you don't know I'm not lying. She said, go ahead and take that.
She said, get him away from these here children. They dunking. Get him out of here. Yours
Get him out of here.
Class.
Get him out of here.
His gumbo's not missing no hot sauce. He got hot sauce in his gumbo.
Hey, but it does as a parent, because you try to dot every I, cross every T. And what I have told myself, and I have tried to, as in my mind, the head of this household, or at least a part of this household that pays some bills, I try to just stick to the track theory. My man Rudy was here. He knows I'm a track coach. And I tell people in track is a lot like life. Mm-hmm. You got to focus on your lane and your lane only. But damn, it is hard when you go to a tournament.
Can I give him a little something? I can't do a little peeking? No.
You can't peek left. You can't peek right. Okay. You can't peek left. You can't peek right, because then all of a sudden you call for restitution. You feel that somebody took something from you because, I'm playing against 16-year-olds. You're right. He just turned 14, but you're playing against 16-year-olds, and guess what? Such is life. Mm-hmm. Such is life. Put the ball out there, focus on your lane, and do you. New Year's restitution episode. We got to get to some college football, man. Quickly. I know that's crazy. We ain't do that.
How about my Irish yesterday, man?
You see, I got my Notre Dame.
How about my Irish?
How about them Irish? If you mad and you hate Notre Dame, I want you to pucker your lips, get upset, find a corner to get in. I'm talking about get hot.
I'll be right back.
You're gonna be right back. Go ahead. I'll hold you down until you get back. I got you. I want you to get mad, pucker your lips. I'm talking about get upset. I'm talking about stank face. I'm talking about you better be mad today. Because what Notre Dame did last night, and I want to talk about it on this episode.
Okay. I'm back now. I'm back.
I didn't know what you were going to do.
I'm back.
What we doing, all man? Expectations.
I'm back.
Came back to the helmet.
I'm back.
Yo.
Hey, my face wasn't so close to the face mask back when I used to wear this helmet. But I'm back right now. I'm back. I'm ready to go. What were we saying?
Yo, I feel like I didn't really do you justice, man. As a partner, I'm underwhelming.
I didn't do my 5th year.
You have on a helmet right now with headphones. And I'm just sitting. All I got was a beanie. My bad, bro. Next time I'm gonna step up and deliver.
So much more face than there was when I was 18.
Have on a Notre Dame.
I mean, what are we doing, man? What we do? What are we talking about?
We in. It's we in.
We here. We here. I'm all in, man.
We in. We in the semifinals,
I'm all
baby.
in. I
Cheer,
can't
cheer
believe
for
how
old
big my
Notre
face
Dame.
looks
Wake
right
up
now.
the
I gotta
echoes, cheer
hold
your
on.
name.
The joke
You know
is
what it
losing its
is.
luster.
You know what I'm saying? Hey, I
can't
appreciate
believe
that. My man had on a whole.
I can't believe you let me do that, man. I can't
Oh
believe you
man,
let me do that.
I let you do that.
Hey, you saw what I was going to do. You should tell me to stop.
You should.
You should tell me.
This man came back in a helmet.
It came back.
That's a classic. I need somebody to edit this and save that moment.
Hey, I can't believe you let me do that.
In a whole helmet. Oh, gosh.
Yeah, I'm happy that it got over my head, but I couldn't believe. I don't remember my face being that close to the face mask when I played
it used
before.
to be a little more.
This is more roomy. I remember I felt like I could recline and put my feet up, but it was. I was in coach. That helmet is coach. I need a first class helmet.
My bad, Wesley. What's up, Wesley Lee? My bad, man. I could. You came back in a helmet. I couldn't even read the comment. Oh my god. Yes, I do agree with that, man.
Never doing that again.
Doing too much, you're not doing enough. Absolutely, man. You got to do what's right for your kids. But Notre Dame yesterday. How about them Irish? And in this space where there is parity, in this space where even Notre Dame, because you allege that the SEC been paying people for years. That's what you said. I didn't say that. Don't come for me. Don't call my phone. Don't accuse me of nothing.
Y'all know where to find me. That's my Twitter handle.
But what my partner in crime, the Big Flow Show, said is the SEC been paying people forever under the table. But in this day and age, even Notre Dame kids can get checks. You know what I mean? My partner's like, y'all know y'all used to get paid over there in Notre Dame. I was like, yo, bro, they used to really enforce the rules, Jack. Like, nah, we couldn't do that.
Get extra food.
Yo, you couldn't sell tickets. They really enforced the rules, Jack. Mm-hmm. Like, there were people that skirted some of those rules and very timely. What up, True Food Jordan? My man, like, you came in right in time. I'm not accusing you.
I hope you just got here. I hope you stopped when I got excited, man. I got too excited. I did something I probably should.
Oh, man, True, you missed it, man. My man, Big Flow Show, put on the helmet. Yo, that's in right there. I'm gonna find my helmet. We doing this next time, man. I'm coming double helmet.
Do it again. I would suggest against it. I'm not a hater. I'm gonna suggest against it. It didn't go out. It didn't work well for me. That was a bad look.
No, that was a great look. I hope we got this. But Notre Dame did the unthinkable, man. They took on the Goliath of all Goliaths. Now, to be fair, it was with a backup quarterback. But the backup quarterback
was the number one player in the country.
Number one player in the country. The backup quarterback was not the reason that Georgia lost that game.
No, he played fantastic.
He played a fantastic game. Fantastic game. And we punched on them in the trenches, something that we could not do, as you reflected upon our last iteration of Alabama down in Miami. We got punched on. Now, what Notre Dame did yesterday, which was a 4 p.m. kickoff, and I hope that everyone was able to see it. The viewership numbers have not come in for the Sugar Bowl yet, but I got to get to them numbers. You say again?
Everybody watched.
Everybody watched it, which was a challenge because people went back to work yesterday. It was a 4 p.m. kickoff, but they had to fit it in before the 8 p.m. game where Lane Kiffin did Lane Kiffin things, right? But Notre Dame looked like a beneficiary of this restitution. Notre Dame, who had done everything right, in quotes, in terms of not paying players, in terms of making education first, in terms of making sure that they did not circumvent the principles that had been so Notre Dame-like in years and decades and generations previous. Notre Dame was on the outs. And we were saying it for years. Well, Notre Dame can't win until they start bending the rules. And people tried to make it about academics. The truth of the matter is it was never about academics. What Notre Dame showed last night is that it was absolutely about the financials. Now, I'm not going to go as far as to make the statement and say the SEC paid people, but there are people that were very closely connected to those SEC schools that absolutely paid mofos. They paid mofos. And so Notre Dame wasn't willing to do that. The boosters felt a little too principle, the risk of being associated with one of those scandals, the people with the deepest pockets felt that risk was way too high for the reward. And so Notre Dame, for at least the last 15 years, has been looked at as you can never reach the pinnacle because you're not willing to go there. Wherever there is, you're not willing to go there. NIL and the transfer portal, it was unheard of for years for Notre Dame to get a transfer student because of
it's still more difficult.
It's still more difficult.
You have to either be a grad transfer or you have to be coming out of your freshman year with the high school credentials to have gotten it before. So it's still not just whatever you want.
It's not whatever you want, but and we looked at the numbers. Even Notre Dame, you look at the numbers about the Notre Dame people yesterday that had an impact on the game that were transfers. And it was crazy because Notre Dame is not one of those people or one of those institutions that has been notorious for getting transfers. But even Notre Dame, right? You got a kick return for a touchdown, transfer. You had a touchdown catch off a great play action. The recipient of the touchdown, the receiver, transfer. The person who threw the touchdown, transfer. The big sack fumble right before half, who made me feel old as hell, man. Roman Oben, I played with his dad in Cleveland. I remember when the kid was born. That made me feel old to see him get that sack. Transfer. You go down the line of people who made an impact on that game, and there were some transfers there. Now, Notre Dame has been also discussed as one of the teams that are in the running as having the least number of transfers. So to your point, there are still some hurdles to overcome in order. But Notre Dame is in a position where they are paying NIL money through a collective and through whatever means, third-party sources. They are taking at least some transfers that are impactful. And now they're in the discussion again. It's a New Year's restitution. There's parity in college football. And who is losing? The big bag SEC. Some of the coaches that had a headlock on college football. And if there is a correlation to be made, I'm willing to make it. There's restitution in college football. There's parity. And it's good to watch. Now, yes, I'm happier because Notre Dame was on the right side of that, taking on the Goliath of Georgia. Uga. Kirby Smart. The 5-star athletes, number one recruiting classes, year in and year out. It feels good to see restitution in college football. I'll give you last word on it, man. We'll get into the specific bowl games. The Notre Dame game was what it was. We'll get into that. I do want to talk about there are 2 black coaches left. They're going to play each other in the Orange Bowl. Notre Dame with Coach Marcus Freeman. James Franklin at Penn State.
I didn't know James Franklin was black. I didn't. I never.
The team light skin. You gonna do that to that man?
I know. He's on my squad. He ain't never been to none of the meetings. I never seen him at the meetings. It was never at the barbecue. I don't know what the hell happened. How did I not know he was black? I never knew
black.
He was
black. James Franklin was black, man.
My bad, James.
Santa Claus was a black man.
Man, that's James coming. I know. I just didn't know.
I'll give you final word on sort of this parity by way of NIL, by way of transfer.
There's an ugly side to everything, and I have a text stream with a bunch of dads from Northwestern, and we talk about the ugly side more often than we don't. You know what I mean? Talking about the bad things that happen, but just the product that we're seeing. We went into this playoffs. Everybody could have said, if you had to pick a team who would have won the playoffs before the playoffs started, who would you pick?
I would have probably picked Georgia.
I would have picked Oregon, right? If I had to pick a team before any games.
I think I'm impacted by the SEC bias. So I'd have probably picked Georgia.
So I'd have picked Oregon. I knew Georgia was in trouble because I hear the quarterback was gone. I thought whatever. But if I had to pick it, I was
struggled too. The starting quarterback struggled.
Yeah, he wasn't sweet neither. But I had to pick that, and I would have picked I would have picked them, but they're not even in the Final Four. This is the best playoffs that we've ever had. It's the best situation. All the conference champions are gone. All the automatic bids are gone. This is all the people coming fighting from the mud and getting in. Everyone said Notre Dame shouldn't be in because they lost to NIU and we almost lost to USC. Think about this. If you, I should say we almost lost to USC, but we're
Right, it was a closer game.
a couple great pick sixes away from having that game get away from us. You got Texas that had some scares beyond where they were at now. Ohio State just got beat by a very, very average Michigan team for Michigan standards of the last 3 or 4 years, and got embarrassed by them. They got beat at home. No. They got beat away by the team that they just destroyed, and now they look like they're the front runner. Penn State has kind of been under the radar as far as I'm concerned the whole year. They kind of been – nobody's really thinking about Penn State. So if you just think about how great this is, football's in the best place it's ever been. If we go to 16 teams, so be it. But,
I don't think they're going to do that. I don't think they're going to go to 16.
I think they got it right with 12 years. There's not
I
a single team.
I think they either got to go. I think they either got to stay at 12 or go down to 8. Because all four of the automatic bidders lost. Yeah. And if we want to be honest, we might as well move on, to say what it is. Say he married his sister. We might as well say what it is. Arizona State made a game out of it against Texas, but Texas made some really bonehead mistakes. Boise State got manhandled by Penn State. And there are naysayers out there, and they say that in the spirit of New Year's restitution, that it was inequitable that some of those schools made it in, and then even more inequitable that they got a bye.
Mm-hmm.
You went 0 for 4 with everybody who got a bye, so there's an argument to be made about, whether or not the rest is helpful or not. But I don't think you can go up to 16. It's just not 16 teams that are going to be competitive. And you talked about the ugly side. While this has been an amazing playoffs, when I look at the injuries that have happened, that's a part of football. Every game you add is more risk that you add. I would say they should go down versus up.
That's never going to happen. The downside never goes up. But, Lane Kiffin tried to do a one-man thing. He beat the team out of the Power Four that did the worst, if you look at it, if you think about it. They had the runner-up got beat. Clemson they got beat bad. Who beat Clemson?
That was the first game. Ohio State beat Clemson, right? No, who did they lose to?
Texas.
I don't remember who beat Clemson. That's crazy. That long ago.
That wasn't Texas, was it?
Clemson. Who did Clemson lose to?
Somebody type it up. Texas. Yeah, they lost to Texas. So I think they got pistol whipped by Texas, didn't they? So and Clemson beat Arizona State, right, for the ACC championship. You're on mute.
Sorry, no. Arizona State won their conference. That's how I got
to. What did they? Oh no, Arizona State beat Clemson for the conference championship, or SMU. No. I'm tripping.
Clemson beat SMU. Yeah.
Clemson beat SMU.
ACC. I know it's who's on first, who's on second, because I don't even think of Texas as an SEC school.
Clemson didn't win the conference championship, did they? They couldn't have because they didn't make automatic. They would have got the bid. We should be telling y'all telling us. I appreciate it.
I don't remember.
Bottom line is,
I don't remember
what I really was going through is Duke was an 8-3 team. Northwestern should have beat Duke. They fumbled the bag because in overtime they called a real stupid play. Otherwise, they would have won. They would have beat them. Duke wasn't nothing. And Duke lost their quarterback and lost their running back and this and that. Jackson Dart played the whole game except for one series, and they still threw on that series. So my point was,
Clemson did win. Clemson won.
So Clemson won the ACC. Boise got the automatic bid because they were ranked higher than Clemson. That's what it is. And so Clemson was there. So my point is, so the all five automatic bids, Clemson being the
Only
fifth
4
automatic
get it.
bid.
Right.
Four get it, and Clemson was the other fifth automatic bid, but they were the lowest seeded because they were there, so they got beat. So
Right.
all the
That's how
five.
Clemson made it in. Clemson
That's how
made
they
it
made
in
it.
and kicked Alabama out by winning the ACC.
And then got beat. So I just think, you have one impressive win, not even impressive, but you got Ole Miss that went out there and beat the hell out of Duke. Duke was not that great of a team, and they were understaffed tremendously, and they kept their foot on the gas the whole time. But besides that, the SEC is looked very, very average. LSU had an impressive win
It's
against
parity,
Baylor.
man. It's parity. I think that there's two things that went on. People are saying that the increase of games, the expansion of games because of the playoffs, allowed us to go toe to toe with this bias. So maybe. But in addition to that, and that's why we're calling this episode New Year's Restitution, there's parity. If everybody can get paid and everybody can receive transfers at the same rate, because the transfer portal is a real thing with limitless number of moves that you can make, then it's going to create parity.
Mm-hmm.
And so those two things collided, and now we see the SEC had a horrible bowl season. Everybody got beat. And I get it for Greg Sankey, the SEC commissioner, and all the SEC enthusiasts. You want to hang your hat on Texas. But Texas got to the SEC yesterday. They're not one of the perennial SEC powers that helped establish this SEC bias. So don't miss me with the Texas shit, because that's disingenuous. And it is what it is. I'll give you final word on it, man, and then we'll go through the bowl games real quick, and we'll talk about NFL, and then we'll get out of here for the day.
My final word is go Irish. That's all I got to say. Go
I
Irish.
love it, baby. I love it.
Hey, and go easy on me for that stunt that I pulled. Put my
I love
big
that,
face
man.
in
You
that
got the helmet on. That was phenomenal, man. We're gonna make a clip out of that, Jack.
I know. I already got text messages from it. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Moving to regret. I'm gonna see it this whole week.
I love it. My guy had on the helmet. Let's go, baby.
Crunk. That's how crunk
Go
I was.
Irish. Hey, man, we just beat Georgia. We beat the SEC powerhouse.
First major bowl win in Notre Dame since I was a junior in college.
Wow. And look, at the same time, while LSU did win the Texas Bowl against Baylor in convincing fashion, I think it just gives you a little more as a Notre Dame man. It makes you feel a little bit better, right? Because Brian Kelly has the all-time winning record at Notre Dame as a coach, but the way he left was a little challenging for me.
Look who he left us with, though.
But look who he left us with. And people questioned, myself included, when Marcus Freeman and that team started off underwhelming, questioned whether or not he was ready. And he's shown that he is, to the tune of getting a new contract and securing his employment for the foreseeable future, to the tune of attracting some of the best talent from a recruit standpoint. So shout out to Marcus Freeman, but it felt good and it has you proud to see a 38-year-old black man get that job and do something magnificent with it. It just feels good, man. I gotta be honest with you, it feels good. And look, I don't think that Brian Kelly's going to get fired or anything at the end of this year.
He's doing a good job at LSU.
He's doing a good job. And Marcus Freeman is doing a phenomenal job. So those two adjectives, I think, suggest where we are as programs, respectively. Mm-hmm. Is what it is. Should they flip the semi games? Because I do think in this episode of New Year's Restitution, there's a bit of inequity, because the Sugar Bowl was already a day later before the idiot did what he did on Bourbon Street. And now you made it 2 days later because they had to postpone it. And so Penn State I would argue, has had 2.5 more days of rest because they beat the brakes off of Boise State. They're going to be more rested. And while they couldn't have prepared necessarily more because they didn't know who was going to win out of Georgia and Notre Dame, they definitely have a little edge because of the game being a week from yesterday. Do you think, and Greg Sankey, the SEC commissioner, suggested, I would imagine prior to the game when Georgia still had a chance to be one of the teams in that semifinal game, he suggested that they should flip the games. So you've got, a situation where maybe Notre Dame's at a disadvantage because they don't have the 2 extra days for their players to recover. They don't have the 2 extra days to get physically and mentally rested. They don't have the extra days of preparation, right? Because arguably Penn State could have prepared for both teams and just watch film and watch the game itself. What say you? Do you think that they should flip the games? The Orange Bowl, instead of being Thursday, should be either Friday or Saturday?
I'm going to say no. Obviously, the tragedy came, loss of life and threat of loss of life is way more important. So we had to make a switch for a day. But that really inconvenienced thousands and thousands of people, travel, jobs, money, tickets, experience that they didn't get to go. So that's tough. Now you have a situation where, people have already purchased their tickets. They're already ready to go, obviously, already on short notice. 7 days is adequate rest. If it was a 5-day rest or something like that, but like 7 days is the typical rest between games. So I think it's I think you got to keep it where it's at. It's not like, if now you give me 2 more days and I can get that big monster, the Barracuda in the middle, number 99. If you tell me he come back and you tell me Jordan Love needs an extra 2 days, I may biasly change my opinion.
Look,
7 days.
This whole show is about restitution. I'm just saying from a equity standpoint. My man Matthew Dayton says move the game.
No matter when they move the game, you're still going to give.
You prove that you can move a game.
But Penn State is still going to get more rest.
Fair, but Penn State gets more rest and Notre Dame gets more rest. And I would just suggest that, I don't know. I don't think they're going to
unless you're going to tell Penn State they got to go do an extra workout to even it out. It's still more rest, and 7 days is adequate.
Y'all got to go do it 2 days.
Yeah. Northwestern or Notre Dame's got to be the ones that run your quick cows every summer.
Right.
But they're still going to have more rest. You can't make that equitable. So now you're just going to say what's enough rest, and I think 7 days has been the standard. So I think it's enough rest.
Yeah, we shall see. I do think that they should switch it, but they won't switch it. And they've proven by postponing the freaking Sugar Bowl by 1 day that it's doable.
Yeah, they could do it, but the impact, we're not going to see it. We don't care. We're watching the game at home. Those that went to the game, my wife's got friends that came home, that went down and spent all that money and came home and didn't go to the game.
Which is crazy. That's why the tickets were $15. I want to leave with this. For everybody that told us for years, for generations, that Notre Dame should join a conference. Everybody who made the college football semifinals earned $14 million in payouts, and those payouts for 3 of the 4 teams were shared with their conferences. There's one team that sings a song like "Cheer, cheer for Notre Dame,"
or something like that.
As an independent, Notre Dame didn't have to share their bread, so that $14 million is going to go.
And they got to host the game. And I wonder how much they got for the first round.
I don't know, but that felt good. I just want to rub it in because a lot of people that are Notre Dame haters, and how dare we not give you something to hate us about? We got the bread, Fred. Let's get into the respective games. The Fiesta Bowl, Penn State 31-14 over Boise State. I was hoping that there would be a little more fireworks there. Do you think that the Heisman runner-up lost any traction for his NFL bid in that game? I know it's your Haitian brethren.
Who, Ashton Gentry?
Yes.
He's Haitian?
Yes, he's Haitian. You didn't know that? I'm mad that I had to tell you, oh, you for Haitian. You fake Haitian. You didn't know that Ashton Gentry was Haitian? Oh, man.
His name isn't Haitian.
He is
I
Haitian,
gotta ask my
man.
dad to pronounce his last name and see if he can make it sound black. Haitian. Ashton Gentry.
He is Haitian.
You know, everything needs to stop for that. Gentry, Haitian. I gotta see if it finishes my sentence. You gotta tell me.
He is Haitian, man.
Oh, that's fantastic. I didn't know that shit. Where is Gentry from? Oh, that's fantastic. I know nobody cares as much as I do, but I'm so excited. I didn't know
But
that he
you
was
care
that way.
so much that I knew and you didn't, man. Yes, he's
I didn't
Haitian.
know. You know me. I claim him if I can claim him. I didn't
I
know.
know you've claimed everybody. I'm shocked that you didn't know that. Do you
See
think
for
it
sure.
hurt his draft status that game?
He had 100 yards, average 4 yards a carry.
It's an ugly 100 and not an impactful 100.
I mean, if you watch the game the way I did, his linemen were getting treated
Yeah,
like
they got manhandled.
like bitches. They were throwing those linemen around real bad. Like nobody had their ID, and it was an over 30 club. Man,
Right.
if you don't
Get
get out of
your
here,
ass up out of here.
get your ass out of here. But
Uh,
yeah, so no, I don't think you heard it. I mean, do you think that Travis Hunter and Shadur Sanders got their stock hurt? Because Travis Hunter didn't do shit.
probably for the same reason. BYU just looked way more physical, and they
And
got
that
killed
was
in the trenches.
BYU isn't even nothing compared to Penn State.
Fair, fair.
I'm gonna be honest with you. If we really want to talk about status, BYU looked like they had the better athletes.
They did.
If
They
you
did.
watch that game,
They
they
did.
ran around. They were better athletes than Colorado. Colorado looked real bad against them, real bad. So if we're not talking about Shadur and Travis, Hunter and Gentry's fine.
Yeah.
All
All
right.
right. So then we went to the Peach Bowl. Peach Bowl, you had Texas, which
He ain't
looked like
Gentry.
they were going to win and
Gentry
dominating.
from Italy. I knew that shit. He's a military dude, man. He grew up in Europe.
He's Haitian, man.
I'm gonna find it out though.
You're gonna find out. I'm telling you, he's Haitian.
I'm excited.
But Peach Bowl was Texas 39-31 over Arizona State. Arizona State got it down to a 4th and 13 and gave it a Teddy Tud. Great game though, man. I think it showed me more about Texas than it did Arizona State. But I'm willing to hear the other side of that. What is your assessment of that game?
I'm still on Haiti. Say it again.
The Texas over Arizona State double overtime game. I was saying that I think it showed me more about the warts that Texas has.
Do you the big question is, do you think that was targeting?
Hell yeah, that was targeting.
So, I mean, I had an argument with one of our other teammates about it only because I feel like if you don't switch your level, you don't dip your head. He kind of had a slightest of a dip in his head, but he just ran forward and their helmets touched. I have a hard time with that, man. Like, what are you supposed to do? You don't know if this guy's going to drop down, if he's going to go left, and you don't launch. Now, to me, it was a bigger targeting on the interception that they didn't call targeting on when the ASU guy came underneath and picked it off, and then the receiver, the other DB, hit the receiver, and he launched up. Right? Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was closer than this one, but the bottom line is we're coming down to a play they call targeting, but the game is over.
Yeah.
I mean, unless they do something magical, the game is over. So, but then the Texas dude, didn't he miss the field goal?
He did. But here's where I am about targeting. It's almost like statutory law, man. It is what it is, and it is what it is. Whether you dropped your head or not, whether the intent was there or not, whether the young man on the other side of that hit got hurt or not, it is what it is. And that's what they've been telling us now for the last 3 seasons. And yet we see right before our very eyes in prime time a model example of targeting that is conveniently overturned. Not only was it not targeting, but it was a call that had been overturned. You know what kind of overwhelming evidence you should have for that call to be overturned? And so by doing so, I think they undermine the whole idea.
It wasn't overturned. It wasn't called targeting initially. He didn't overturn it. The other way around.
He didn't overturn it. Sorry.
Yeah.
But my point is that it was targeting. That you've now undermined how impactful and enforcing the rule you want to, how strong an enforcement you want to have to make the game safer.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, it is what it is. It was targeting.
Yeah, I have a hard time with the ejection rule, and someone was saying that kind of comes into the play, and someone. I think they got to get rid of it. I think 15 yards is enough of a deterrent, right? I don't think you have to kick people out of the game for targeting.
Well, maybe then you create variations of it where one's an ejection and one's not. But
yeah, that's
you
true.
got to make the game. Like if you're going to say the game's going to be safer, I mean, there's somebody out cold on the field from a helmet to helmet.
Or it was targeting with every aspect: launch, head to head, forcible.
You go down the rules, they're looking at it, and everyone's like, "Oh yeah, that's targeting," and then lo and behold, it's not. So that was yes, but I do think it was targeting. I don't know if it impacted the outcome of the game. Very well,
100%.
Very well might have, should have, but I will say this: Texas looks beatable, and that's your last SEC powerhouse left. And I put SEC powerhouse in quotes because they've been there for 13 minutes. You had then the Rose Bowl, and what Ohio State showed you, because I can tell you were impressed by them, is what they showed everybody. And so they'll be favored to win the rest of the game going forward, including, they'll be favored over Texas in a basically home game for Texas. They'll be favored to win that game, and it's a home game for Texas. So
I think they might whoop Texas. I'm serious. I hate Ohio State too. Just let that be known. I hate them. I think they are a Glock. That receiver they have is an unfair cheat code.
Yeah.
He's a monster.
South Floridian in the building.
Nobody cares. Yeah. Oh, no one said it. No one cares.
I agree with you.
Unless he's Haitian. Is he Haitian?
I don't know if he's Haitian. He's from South Florida, so very well could be.
Very well could be.
But I agree with you, Matt Dayton. Very good point. I like that. Make it like the NBA, flagrant 1, flagrant 2, having severity and degrees of targeting. 15 yards and then severity should factor in for ejection. Either way, that should have been 15 for ASU. I got to agree with that. So then you start people wondering, right? Like there were some calls last night in the Sugar Bowl that were questionable. A defensive delay of game in one of the most crucial points of the game. You almost never hear that. Like, it just
wasn't that on a kick, a punt?
It was on a punt.
Come on, man.
Where Georgia has just decided because of a false start.
Well, we stopped their ass anyway.
But like, those are the type of.
Or you don't notice that there's a tight end on the line of scrimmage and you call an illegal shift because the guy's in motion, a regular motion by himself.
Never happened. That was a 4th down play. That literally never happened.
And there was only one receiver. And you see a big ass 6'7" tight end and the 3-point stance on the line of scrimmage. And you say, oh,
what happened was, in all fairness, because I'm trying to make sure I don't just say that they were cheating. The tight end lined up in the backfield initially and put his hand back. Realized that there was a motion involved, so he's got to be on the line. He went on the line. There's supposed to be at least a 1 count before there's any motions. Maybe it was 0.8, 0.9.
That's not true.
Yeah, it's got to be a 1 count before he goes in motion.
Before you snap it.
No.
Multiple people can move and get on the line and switch in motion.
If there's a shift simultaneously, that wasn't a simultaneous shift. The tight end moved up to the line. There's got to be a 1 count before there's a motion. But the nuance of that 1 count, maybe it was 0.9. There was a period between that tight end moving up to the line and the receiver the lacrosse player going in motion. There was a period. And that's almost never called. And they called it in the most crucial point of the game at that point. And yeah, so you look at that, you look at the Texas non-targeting call, and you've got the SEC bias. And it just, it's like
somehow Georgia still scored less than IU, who everyone said did not belong in the playoffs.
It was a defensive battle. You got to give both teams credit. That was a defensive battle. The kickoff return, I think, at the beginning of the second half changed the game.
And where did that guy come from?
Transfer.
But I'm saying, do you remember him this season?
I do not remember him. He had a very distinctive look. Very long dreads. Very
thick. Kind of remind me of what's the name of that dick? I can't remember. He's thick as who is this guy? Notre Dame has people that they put up. They take him off the
You
shelf,
look,
throw
you
him in
like
the game.
you look like Lacey from Alabama. That's what you're talking
Yeah, who is this dude? God, out of there. Let's do it.
about.
Then they started getting receiver run. They started giving him receiver run all of a sudden.
He had a nasty catch. That was
Yeah,
short
I
of
was
the
like,
first
he
down.
play
I was like,
receiver
that's a
too.
nasty catch. Yeah, I don't. Hey, look, man, that's a new world. New world order, man. Transferred. I don't know. But the last one was the Sugar Bowl. And you know who won that one? Notre Dame, 23-10. Great game all around by Notre Dame fans, well attended by Notre Dame fans. And you put a bow on. Oh, he transferred from Marshall, I guess.
Yeah, Marshall All-American.
Marshall All-American. But you put a bow on the quarterfinals, advancing to the semis with a phenomenal game that was, I'm assuming the viewership numbers will come out, but I would imagine those numbers are going to be record numbers, especially because it went from a prime time third of 3 games on New Year's Day to a random slot, unplanned, 4 p.m. on a day when people were back at work on the day after New Year's Day. There's got to be some science behind that, but I was really, I'm really looking forward to seeing what those viewership numbers were, because it'll tell us a lot about Notre Dame fans and its prowess to maintain as an independent. All right, let's get on out of here, man, with NFL talk. It's week 18. That's right, week 18. And we went from all of the things that were, which I thought was really dope. I liked our conversation about NIL transfer portal's impact on parity. Salute to you. You did a good job on that. Let's get into week 18. Week 18, man. We've got some of these games that are going to dictate what happens. And there is a particular person who won't be playing. Let's start there. Then I'll get into the matchups. Saquon will be on the sidelines, allegedly. And by being on the sideline, cannot break Eric Dickerson's 40-year-old record. Do you think that's the right decision for the Philadelphia Eagles to make? Do you think Eric Dickerson's response to the threat that Saquon was going to break his record in 17 games, that he broke in 16 games, was fair analysis by Eric Dickerson?
No.
Why not?
It's very hypocritical that he somehow forgets one great detail. He's saying that Saquon was going to do it, but he got an extra game to do it, and that's not fair. But the only reason why he's the all-time leading rusher is because he got an extra game over O.J. Simpson. So
over who?
O.J. Simpson.
O.J.
How can you forget that fact when you say that? How can that not stick in your mind?
Are you one of those people that believe, because like the 72 Dolphins, every time that it has become clear that there will be no undefeated teams, they pop champagne? Are you one of those people that think that that's like some vain BS? Or at the end of the day, we're all athletes. And maybe there's something to be said about Eric Dickerson not wanting his record to be broken by Saquon.
Yeah, that's fine, but don't say that. I'd rather see the way Barry Sanders was rooting for my Haitian brethren to break his record, even though he must have had.
You just everybody's Haitian, so I don't. What are you talking about? You're talking about college. My bad. Okay, gotcha.
Gentry could have broke his record.
I heard Barry Sanders,
and Barry Sanders' argument is way more valid if he would have said that Gentry didn't break, because back when he did it, they didn't count the bowl game, and suddenly they were going to count the bowl game for Gentry.
But Barry Sanders is like freaking Gandhi or something. He's just different.
But what I'm saying is those are just 2 chances in the same season where you see there's tweets coming out every day.
Most athletes are assholes. Most athletes are not Barry Sanders.
No one who's got these records are still athletes today. They're old fat men that are no longer athletes, right? They're dads now. They've known better. They're
grandfathers,
wise.
Probably.
Eric Dickerson was in a run happy league, where everyone was running the ball and everyone was doing everything. We're in a pass happy league. I just think, shut up, man. Just be the gracious guy, Michael Johnson, he was, hey, records made to be broken. When Usain Bolt was coming out there busting records, everybody comes forward and they take the high road, except you. Except you. You're on mute. Or I just can't hear you. You're not on mute, but I can't hear you. But that maybe everyone else can hear you. Can you hear me?
I'm unmuted now. Can you hear me now?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right. So I can respect that. But I'm going to ask you this, because from your standpoint, it sounds like you think Eric Dickerson's a jerk.
I never liked him, so let's just
do
be
you
full disclosure.
Do you think that the Philadelphia Eagles and the powers that be, the head coach, are they jerks? Because here was Saquon Barkley's response to the revelation that he would be involuntarily benched for the last game, where he only 101 yards away from breaking this 40-year-old record. He would have broken it against his former team, that we know there's some bad blood there. And his response is, and I quote, and I want to know how you feel and interpret this quote, it would have been special to do it against the Giants, but not for the reasons how you guys would probably perceive it to be. At the end of the day, I got nothing but love and respect for those guys over there. There's a lot of trainers, coaches, and strength guys that help me out, my ACL, yada, yada. At the end of the day, it's not in God's plans. He had bigger things in mind. We have a chance to rest and get ready for the playoffs. Do you think, by way of those remarks, that Saquon Barkley is truly okay with the decision that he's going to be seated and therefore eliminated from contention of breaking a 40-year-old NFL rushing record? Paul Madonna. You know what, Paul?
Paul's a jerk. I miss Paul, though. He's such a jerk. How your Hurricanes doing? But anyway, he's
they were the Pop-Tart Bowl I was talking about, but people watched it. People watched them lose. That's
because people like Pop-Tarts.
Not because of the Hurricane. Hey, look, I'm a viewership guy. They were the second highest viewership in a non-playoff related game outside of the Alamo Bowl and Coach Prime.
What happened again?
Miami gave the game away. Cam Ward didn't play the second half.
Yeah, so I was going to say, it's kind of funny we're bringing it up because that's the second half. He decided for himself he wasn't going to play in the second half. How do we feel about that?
And I think he broke a record in the first half.
And then he was cool. Once he broke the record, once he got self out the way.
That one, man. So
that's trash.
And we got to get back to, I do want to hear what your interpretation of Saquon Barkley response is. But if we had to pit in this New Year's Restitution episode, if we had to pit Shedeur Sanders' decision to play the whole game versus Cam Ward's decision to not play, which is ironic because their whole exchange during that workout was like, man, you cheating the workout. Remember, Cam Ward is calling Shedeur Sanders out for cheating the workout and not finishing it and having the type of intensity that he would suggest that you need as a quarterback. Cam Ward sat out the second half.
Cam Ward's was bad. I'm going to say that's bad because you decided to play. I mean, it's just too obvious that it was for self. Like, you got your record, and then you say, all right, I'm good. I don't care if we lose. It's a close game. They could use you to win the game. All those people want to win. You robbed them. Saquon Barkley is in a professional sport with its legacy that wants to be in the Hall of Fame one day and wants to do whatever. He could have been the all-time single-season leading rusher, and you robbed him of that. I think maybe you talk to him quietly and say, look, I'm going to give you a half. Go nuts. And then we're going to pull you as soon as you get to it because we don't care about this game. But you got to let him do it. This is a fan-driven game.
Look at the Giants. He would have 102 probably in the second quarter.
In the second quarter. Come on. Let him go get those. Let him go get those. Come on, man. That's history, dude. 40 years. And against the Giants, you got to let him get those, man. You're going to ask him. When he twists his ankle, there's going to be a game where his ankle's twisted. And they're going to say, hey, can we give you a shot of tramadol and put you in the game? And we're going to risk your future because we need to win this game. You're going to ask him to lay himself on the line.
I wasn't on your side till you just said that. Until you said that, you convinced me.
Yeah.
Convinced me. I wasn't on your side.
That to him one time.
I was ready
He's going to say, you know what? I got it. I'm going to go try to win
I was ready to argue with you and say the playoffs and the potential Super Bowl is more important, but you just changed my mind. Because how many times they shoot you up and pat your ass on the damn butt and say, get on out there, son. Be tough. And now he don't get a chance to go be tough and go break that record. Yeah, you changed my mind.
Let him get it, man.
That was convincing.
Let him get it. People been saying he's injury bust, all kind of stuff. He was saying, oh, whatever he came out. I wanted the Bears to get him too. We'd have ruined his career though. But
we're on a perfectly
good
conversation, ideal NFL conversation about bringing up the Bears.
I'm sorry. I apologize.
Come on, man. What you mean? I shouldn't call it a non-playoff game. Paul's a non-playoff game, man. You know, no playoff.
In case you forgot, because y'all thought you should get in. So,
anyway. I will say this before we get out of here. Saquon Barkley in this generation of me, post the video as soon as you make the play seems to be sort of a throwback. Mm-hmm. And while he might have had an agent or a PR person prepare those words and those remarks, I can believe it coming from him because he does seem to be sort of a throwback and seems like to be an amazing guy. I know they showed his significant other and his kids, and people really took at it with his significant other. And even his response or lack thereof just shows he's kind of a throwback, man. So shout out to Saquon Barkley. Even if you didn't break the record, wink, wink, we know that you probably would have against the Giants. And maybe the Eagles will come to a better decision and let him play anyway.
That would come out. Because I think you can still let somebody play as long as it wasn't an injury scratch. You can always bring him back.
Yeah. This episode has been amazing. New Year's Restitution. For those who don't know, this is the Ball Sports Talk where sports, business, and entertainment collide. While we did just celebrate a new year, happy 2025, everybody. And while there's a lot of nonsense and craziness, tragedies, as we celebrated the new year, my line brother lost his father as he was waiting on New Year's Eve. And you talked about the beautiful soul that was lost, 25 years old, to a debilitating disease. And we all know too well about the Bourbon Street tragedy. I'm hoping that there is a lot of restitution, which is the restoration of something lost or stolen to its proper owner in 2025. We're wishing you all the restoration of something lost or stolen to its proper owner. All that is good, all that is wholesome, all that is beautiful about life. We're praying for all of you that it is restored in 2025. A lot of nonsense going on, but we are wishing you nothing but the best in 2025. Big Flo Show, your last word before we get out of here.
I can't think of anything else, but go Irish.
I can think of one more thing. The Ball Hawk Spotlight moment. Bryce James is an Arizona Wildcat. That boy a Wildcat, man. We say that boy a Wildcat. That normally meant you was out there doing your thing. But Bryce James is a Wildcat. I know you're a big LeBron James fan. We'll see how that plays out, man. See how it plays out.
Yes, sir.
See how it plays out. This has been a great show. We can't do it without you. So from the bottom of our hearts, we thank you for your continued support. And from the bottom of our hearts, we ask you humbly, please like, please comment, please share, please tag a friend, please tag a foe, please tag anyone that you know, and please subscribe to the YouTube channel and to the podcast. Happy 2025. It has been my honor to be in front of this microphone in 2024. I look forward to 2025, especially being with the Big Flo Show. I am your boy, B Brown, ESQ, a.k.a. the Ball Hawk, a.k.a. the Mouth of the South, a.k.a. Mr. Accessible Virtue, a.k.a. Breezy, a.k.a. the Councilman, a.k.a. Coach Bobby. This is the Ball Hawk Sports Talk, where sports, business, and entertainment collide, where two businessmen get together to discuss sports in an entertaining fashion. We do it one way and one way only, rough, rugged, and raw. Thank you for tuning in this week. This is the New Year's Restitution episode. And with that, we is out. Peace.